Some students would come to us when they want to pay their tuition deposits. Some students would come to us when they want to pay school fees, housing, rent. So essentially, our goal is wherever you need us during the life cycle of your application process, we're right there.
And the finessing that I had to do to make that happen. Because the school literally just sent like the IBAN info, the SWIFT. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Okay, you need to sit down for this one. I have good news for you. I think I found the easiest way to pay tuition fees online. There is an app called Pay for Me that it's a cross-border platform app where you can pay your visa fees, your tuition fees, service fees, West fees online in your local currency in as little as 10 minutes. So instead of just sitting and telling you about the app, blah, 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 I have something better. I have the founder of the app, Sunday Paul Ada, who I've spoken with via video call. And I'm just going to share that call with you. Your girl has a coupon. A coupon. Can we celebrate?
I'm putting in the work for us.
Can we celebrate the coupon? Yeah, let me just stop talking and roll the clip. Thank you for joining, and thank you for that we could make time to talk about this today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course, of course. Main goals, I guess, for this is to just talk more about like the crisis that a lot of students are facing in general when moving to a new
Hmm.
country, and how
Hmm.
both like come in handy, especially your tool, the Pay for Me app, and how that helps and basically is revolutionizing how students pay for their tuition online.
Amazing. I'm excited to talk about how Pay for Me is changing the way students pay for their school fees and then also how Pay for Me help with the process of relocating abroad, for sure.
Yeah, that's perfect. And most people that are watching, they already know my channel that I am from Jamaica and I moved to Portugal to study my master's in film roughly 3 years
Hmm.
ago. So I went through the whole process, the struggles, the obstacles, the sleepless nights, the stress.
Yep.
And of course, you also experienced something similar, right? In your
Hmm.
own
Yeah.
journey.
I did. Yeah, so thank you very much. I love telling the story, of how I started with Pay for Me. So in 2014, I came to the US as an international student, right? And I almost got kicked out of school and lost the opportunity to, go to my dream country and my dream school due to payment delays. Essentially, I, started working as an international student advisor, and I realized that a lot of international students from emerging economies in Africa, the Caribbean, South Asia were also having the same problem. So I decided, why not start, something to help solve this problem?
Yeah.
Initially started as a WhatsApp community, and then eventually, became what is known today as Pay for Me. So I guess we'll dive into it as we continue to go. But yeah, that's kind of like the brief background of how Pay for Me got its start.
Okay, perfect. And I already have an intro that I pre-recorded, but I just want to reiterate that you are this founder and CEO of the Pay for Me app, Sunday Paul Ada. Am I pronouncing that
Yeah.
right?
No, yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah, perfect. And just so everyone understands that Pay for Me is a cross-border payment platform for international students and also travelers as well, right? To help to pay
Yeah, correct.
tuition, service fees, West fees, visa fees, and other migratory fees. And also very fast as well, like within 10 minutes, like super fast.
Yeah, it is. Most transactions are completed, in under 24 hours, but we see some transactions are completed within a few minutes and some within a few hours. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. And how many students so far have been able to benefit from the Pay for Me app?
So currently, PayForMe has close to 110,000 registered users. But at a given time, we support close to 5,000. Considering that we're facing out access, like we're providing access in phases. So some countries, have access. Some students have access on a need-to-need basis. But as of today, we've registered close to 110,000 users.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And also great reviews as well, because when I was checking, a lot of praising reviews as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think right now, both on the Google Play Store and the Apple Store, we have close to, I believe, like 2,000, if not more, reviews, and not, mostly great, right? But those reviews have also provided us with feedback to be like, hey, this sucks, fix it, and then, so we've used those. But yeah, thank you very much for highlighting those.
Yeah, and that's awesome because companies evolve. And I would love to know, like, based on that experience, how has Pay for Me evolved since its launch, especially with
Hmm.
regards to challenges many students struggle with, especially on the African continent, which is your main
Hmm.
target audience, right? Like, how
Hmm.
has it
Yeah.
evolved from initially to now?
Yeah, when PayForMe started was very manual, right? We did not set out to start like a fintech or a payment company. We set it out to start like a community to help people with solving and figuring out the problems around payments, migration, etc. But then it evolved into which is kind of like how we got our name, evolve into this platform where people would reach out and say, hey, can you help me pay for, or can somebody help me pay for XYZ? So we're
Mhm.
like, oh, you know what? It sounds like a cool name, pay for me. And
Yeah,
that was how we got our name. But we started out essentially as a community. And then as the needs evolved, our company evolved. Essentially, everything at the very beginning was very manual, right? And then over time, we started, integrating the technology. So we've come from this very small, tiny, manual, process-driven company to this company that, everything happens end to end. So fully automated end to end, right? And our goal is to essentially continue to use technology, AI, machine learning to essentially even make processes a lot faster and seamless for our users.
yeah, that's really awesome. And I'm very curious that since we mentioned Pay for Me and understanding the journey, how does it
Hmm.
actually help students? Like students watching the video, how do they go from point A, like they see a university, they've applied to that university, it's time to
Hmm.
pay or it's time to pay for the visas. How do you
Hmm.
actually use Pay for Me? How is that accessible?
That's a good one. So pay for me can come in a variety of ways, right? Sometimes when students are looking to go study abroad, I'll use Europe for instance.
Hmm.
Um, there are students who are trying to go to school in Portugal or Italy, and the payment methods from like their home country, like in Nigeria, Ghana, does not work for the application fee processes, right? As of today, we've processed, I'd say, close to 500K. I mean, close to 500 applications for like schools in Italy, for application fees for like schools in Italy. And sometimes Portugal, sometimes Switzerland, etc. And the core problem is the payment methods that the school provides does not work for the students across this continent. So they come to us to help them with, getting the payments done because we have the tool and resources to get the payments done from them. So that's one way Pay for Me helps is that we go beyond the mainstream payment flow, right? We essentially take on the responsibility of saying, if there's a way to get this payment done,
Yeah,
we're gonna help you get it done. So we can come in a variety of ways. Some students come to us during the application process to help them with paying their application fee. Some students would come to us when they want to pay their tuition deposit. Some students will come to us when they want to pay school fees, housing, rent. So essentially our goal is wherever you need us during the life cycle of your application process, we're right there. And yeah.
That's really awesome because from my experience when I was moving from Jamaica to Portugal, one of the main things that I had to do was pay like my deposit fee and of course the tuition
Hmm.
and the finessing that I had to do to make that happen. Because the school literally just sent like the IBAN info, the SWIFT.
Hmm.
At the time, I had no idea about that because in Jamaica we
Hmm.
don't use IBAN, SWIFT, stuff
Hmm.
like that. So it was crazy. So when I saw this app and I got introduced to it, I thought like it's a perfect solution for students. And one
I agree.
other experience that I thought is when I was in Portugal, I remember I had a friend moving from Nigeria to Portugal, and she couldn't pay her tuition fee because she hadn't yet set up her account in Portugal. So because I had my account, she had to give me the money to pay. And I thought like,
Well.
isn't there a way or something like that? So this is really awesome.
And this is why pay for me has to exist, right? Because um, people like your friend, people like yourself, we want to go from our home country to a new country, and we have to deal with the application process. We have to deal with gathering documents. We have to deal with, writing the essays. We have to deal with making sure we meet all the requirements. And on top of that, we have to deal with payments, right? So pay for me essentially saying, you have a lot going on. We're going to take this payment piece, right? We're going to take that off your plate and we're going to help you with, making it happen. So if pay for me had existed, when you and or your friend were trying to go study in Portugal, right? We would have, come to the rescue.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I do want to ask though, because Pay for Me started initially mostly for students on the African continent, but
Hmm.
I know it's evolving and has evolved. Like, how is their value for students that are not from Africa? So students like
Hmm.
North America, for example, coming from Jamaica, maybe the USA,
Hmm.
or students from
Hmm.
Europe, traveling to Europe, or it could be coming
Yeah.
from South America, wherever it is, like what's the value for students from other continents?
So PaperMe is growing, right? We're a very baby company, and our goal is we want to essentially be in every emerging country and be the go-to platform for, cross-border educational payments, right? So as of today, we are currently in talk with banking partners across these different jurisdictions, right? So Latin America, the Caribbean, in the US to essentially help support international students from, the onset of the educational journey to when they arrive. We're also going beyond payments. We are essentially going to be launching banking and also other credit building products for international students as we continue to evolve. So as of today, we're not, even though we're not in certain jurisdictions fully, but we do have certain partnerships that can enable us to support students from those jurisdictions. For instance, say Jamaica. We're not fully in Jamaica, but we do have a way to support students from Jamaica through our partnerships with some of our, global banking and payments partners. The same way, in the Latin America, we're currently in conversations there to turn on Mexico, Brazil, um, and two more countries in LATAM. So the goal is the next 2 to 5 years, we are probably going to have some sort of presence in these countries or through our own um, localized integration or through partnership with a local payment company.
Okay, yeah, that's great. So the plan is to expand to the Caribbean, Asia, Latin America.
Correct. Yes, that's the plan.
But you said for now you still offer value to students coming from those countries, right?
Yeah, of course we do. For students coming from those countries, we can still help them with payments, right? We can still help them with like paying their tuition. We can help them with paying their application fees. We can help them. There may be a little bit of an art involved in making that happen since we're not necessarily fully on the ground, but we do have the rails and the tools to make that happen as of today. Um, Of course, in the next few months, as we start, having conversations, we are going to be working towards fully going live in these regions and making payments more localized and helping people locally. But beyond payments, we can offer value. Pay for Me is a platform that offers value beyond payments. And what do I mean by this? For students who are looking to go study abroad, we can connect them with like, other funding sources like scholarships, grants, loans. We can also connect them with, tools and resources for like preparing for their student visa interviews, for applying to their institutions, etc. So these are some of the ways that Pay for Me can, add value just beyond the payment piece.
Okay, that's perfect. So it's more than just like fintech and financial services. It's also like, as you said, like travel guidance and like you help with interviews. So I'm guessing like mock interviews for students to
Correct, yes.
travel. But
And then we partner with agencies and companies and banks and individuals, right, to help the students succeed. So um, it's an all-in-one platform to help international students and really those looking to move from their home country to a new country. It's a platform to help them succeed.
mhm. That's awesome. And I'm curious, like, are these like non-financial services, are they also available within the app? Or, for example, students who need such services, do they have to reach out manually?
Mhm. For the most part, some of them are automated. Like for instance, say you pay for your CVs fee. CVs is a payment that, students who are looking to go to the United States for higher education, they have to pay. Um, uh, when students pay for CVs on the Pay for Me app, the system automatically recognizes that they're going to be going for their US visa interviews. And so the system would automatically send them an email to book a mock interview,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
But in some cases, yeah, but in some cases, if you're going to the UK, you don't need an interview. You don't need interview, right? Like if you're going to um um Europe. I don't think some European countries do interview and some don't. So we're still evolving as a company to the extent that we can automate stuff we do, but to the extent that we cannot, people can always reach out via email and say, "Hey, I need help with XYZ," and we would link them up with the right partner or the right resource right there.
Yeah, that's great. And I have first-hand experience like communicating via email, pay for me. It's really efficient, I would
Yeah,
say. I don't know if it's
thank
just
you.
my experience, but I've really had a really good experience communicating. Yeah.
I think we try to, for me, because I understand what's on the line with international students. A lot of the payments that international students make, all the communications that international students make, they're often time sensitive, right? Like, think about it. When you're trying to pay for your tuition, right? There are a lot of things that's dependent on that. So we try to be very efficient in terms of how we communicate and making sure that we get back. We have a policy that we have to get back to people within 24 hours, you
Oh,
know. Yeah, so for the most part we do a good job at that. So yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I
Thank you.
realized then like that based on this, community is really important to pay for me. Like even how we got connected, I really realized that this is a core for the pay for me ecosystem. Do you want to
Mhm.
share a little bit more how community comes in play for pay for me? What value maybe
Yes.
students may have,
Yes.
agents, and even people like me who got in touch with
Yeah. We're big on community, right? We gotta start like our genesis, right? Our foundation was built on community. We started Pay for Me as a WhatsApp community, right? And we have kept kind of like that, we've kept that spirit because we realized that when you're going from your home country to a new country, it makes the journey a little easier when you have other people that's also on the same journey as you. Like you can communicate, you can share notes, you can learn from them, right? And when you arrive in your new country, it makes it makes it less terrifying. It makes it a lot easier for you to integrate and to have a great experience when you have people who understand the journey or who shares your affinity, in terms of like the journey you're going on. So Pay for Me is big on community. We got our start on community, and as of today, we even have a community within the Pay for Me app where people can go when they need questions asked or when they need help with something or even when they're having challenges with, using the app. And we're also kind of like we encourage people to, interact and communicate with us on social media and all other platforms. So yeah, we believe that community is everything.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I also feel the same because I'm working on building community for students moving to
Hmm.
Portugal, wanting to study in Portugal because it's not easy. And it's great when you're not alone. And for me, I
Yeah.
didn't have that community in the beginning when I moved. And I had my moments where I really felt alone and wish I had community. So I totally
Hmm.
understand,
Yeah,
trying to build community and the value that has for students.
I agree. It always makes a difference, right? When you have that community, it makes life a little bit easier, but regardless of where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And I just want to touch a little bit on like Pay for Me is a fintech community as we establish a fintech company. And I know
Hmm.
students like myself, like we really save to travel and to study. And sometimes,
Hmm.
when we're sending a fee for 100 euros, 100 US, 300, maybe it's our
Hmm.
last, or maybe we budgeted so tightly. Can
Hmm.
you stress a little bit or talk a little bit on the safety with paying through Pay for Me so students don't have to worry like, is this a safe platform or anything
Hmm.
like that, just so they know that everything is totally okay and everything is
Yeah.
viable.
Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up. So safety, especially when it comes to money, is a very huge deal. Like security, right? It's a very huge deal. So which is kind of like one of the reasons why we're very big on safety and also security. So as of today, Pay for Me is PCI DSS secured. So we have a certification that says any information that you share on our platform, is secured, right? We also have encryptions. A lot of the information you share, between Pay for Me and your transactions, they're encrypted. Even us as a company cannot see the information, right? We also partner with only verified and reputable banking and financial institutions, and we also have we're very heavy on compliance. We have a compliance head that has worked over the last 35 years in the banking and financial technology industry. We are FinCEN registered. So FinCEN is essentially the watchdog in the US that essentially makes sure that everybody is doing the right things that they're supposed to be doing. And then we take privacy very serious, right? We have a very solid privacy policy, a very solid terms of use that people can explore on our website to see essentially how we collect, record, share, and use their data. And you can always opt out, of any and or some of those that that are optional. And then in the event that you don't want to do business with us anymore, you can easily delete your account. And Some of those data that's on the surface can be deleted. Of course, as a financial technology company, by law, we're required to retain certain, information for a certain period of time. But outside of those information, we pretty much don't use your information for any purposes that, you have not agreed to.
Mhm.
So essentially, we have all of this systems in place from, the privacy policy and being adherent to all of the regulatory privacy policy. We are FinCEN registered. We only work with reputable banking and financial institutions. We also encrypt information and we make sure that everything is super tight as we move data or funds from one jurisdiction to another.
Mhm. That's really awesome and refreshing. Thanks for your transparency. I know many students will, they can take a nice let out a breath of fresh air knowing that everything is okay. And
Yeah,
it sounds
yeah,
like they don't have to worry about anything and that no liability, everything is covered and stuff like that.
yeah. We do. I think it's one of those things, right? We also, in addition to like the way we work, we make sure that you know issues don't happen, but we also have like a policy where you don't have to like when students need a refund or when they want their money back for one reason or the other, we have a very open refund policy. You can essentially find everything on our website, right? We realize that people don't like surprise fees. People don't like, surprise charges. People don't like hidden fees. And everything we do is we try to be very transparent and say, hey, here's how much you're paying us. Here's the breakdown of the transaction, and here is how we handle all of those things. So, uh, transparency is very key in the business that we do, and we try to, ensure that we put everything in front of the users to enable them make an informed decision. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great point because I feel the same way, and that's why I put more information out on my channel for students, like an unbiased, really, like
Mm-hmm.
realistic perspective for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I really am curious, do you have like any experience from a student that you can share that has really inspired you to continue with Pay for Me and that has really motivated you, like some fulfilling feedback or a story you received from a student?
Mm-hmm.
Want to hear the tea?
Well, there's a lot. And I'm
I
saying
can
that not
imagine, yeah.
because, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of students that have come to us, that we've really made a huge impact in their lives, right? Gosh, I'm just thinking in my head right now, which one should I share? Um, so I think I'll share about a specific student who literally, they wanted to pay for their CV's fee because they had gotten like a scholarship to go to school in the US, and they wanted to pay for their CV's fee, and they had gone to like a lot of the banks in Nigeria. They've gone to banks. They literally lost hope, right? That because you can't pay that fee directly from Nigeria. What most people do is that they travel to the neighboring country, Benin Republic. Depending on where you live, even if you live in Lagos, it's like a 6 hours drive. But imagine if you live in the northern part of Nigeria, it's a whole day to travel by road. And if you're flying, that means you're going to be spending like a significant amount of money to get this done. So, this student was just literally, or you have somebody abroad that can help you, and they've lost hope. And then they were just doing a quick Google research, and they found Pay for Me, right? And when they found Pay for Me, they were not sure, right? Because we're a small company, we don't have like all the boss and whistle, and they decided to give it a shot. In their own words, right? They were like, you know what? I'll just give it a try. If my money, if my money just goes away, it goes away, right?
Mhm.
But to their surprise, the transaction was processed within a few hours, and they were like mind blown. And essentially, this student was able to, go on to go on for their interview. They were successful, and they're now studying. Not sure what he's studying, but he's currently at Stanford in California, and we actually still keep in touch, right? And that's one of the very many success stories. I can share some about a student who almost lost their admission to go to school in Canada because they couldn't figure out a way to pay the admission deposit, and Pay for Me came to the rescue. And these are kind of like some of those stories on how Pay for Me is making dreams become reality just by making sure people can pay for this important tuition and school fees payments on time.
That's really awesome. Pay for Me is out here changing lives.
I know, right?
That's so inspiring. And, like
Yeah.
studying in other countries has been something that has been going on for many, many years.
Hmm.
Most of us go to study without a scholarship. Some people are blessed to
Hmm.
have a scholarship. And as you said,
Hmm.
on top of the mountain of bureaucracy, it's great to have tools that can really help, especially with paying for tuition and visas.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
And on that note, I'm really curious, like, what is the future of Pay for Me? Like, tell me more about the future of Pay for Me, the 2025 Pay for Me, 2026 Pay for Me. What's going on?
Oh, there's a lot in the works. For me personally, I'm excited about the students that we're gonna help change their lives. Because when you look at studying abroad, just like you've mentioned, I used to be a former international student. You study abroad as well. Studying abroad it's regardless of how you see it, it's a life-changing process, right?
Mhm.
When you go study abroad, you're essentially carrying the dreams of your families, of your ancestors, of your village, hundreds of people and you know,
Yeah.
you're carrying their dreams with you and you want to make them proud, right? So in some cases, we've seen people where the community literally contribute money for them to like do the applications to pay for the visas and etc. Right? So pay for me with that understanding is we want to help more dreams. We want to help make more dreams become reality, right? We want to help dreams fly. We want to give people's dreams wings so that they can, people study abroad dreams want to give them wings. And how do we do that? We want to essentially make payments a lot smoother and a lot cheaper and affordable for people who are going to study abroad. We want to provide other financial services, more robust services, beyond, payments. People sometimes want to go study abroad, but they don't have the money in bulk, but they, looking for a reliable platform to be able to, $1 there, $5 there, $20 there, $1,000 there, right, until they are able to meet up with us. So we want to be a tool in making that happen. Pay for Me also is working on partnership with a lot of banks and financial institutions to provide educational financing, both grants, loans, scholarships, etc. But we are also working on launching multi-currency bank accounts, both IBANs and demand deposit accounts for our customers in Africa, in the Caribbean, in the European Union. And later this year, we will be launching a credit builder bank account for our students in the US. So one of the challenges that we've noticed is that when people move from abroad, for instance, when you move from Nigeria, you don't have a credit score, or you're not able to take your credit score from Nigeria to the US. So it becomes really hard for people to like buy cars, rent houses, fully plug into the financial ecosystem. So we're launching a bank account that enables people to build US credit while they spend and pay tuition, etc. Right? We'll start in the US and essentially, we would continue to grow that product across all of the jurisdiction that we're present in the world. So that's just to mention a few, in terms of like the things that we're working on. And some of these I'm really excited about because it's been a long time coming. And I'll be sharing more about them as they go live.
Okay, perfect. I think that's great because a lot of times, like the money that students pay is not trackable in terms of how does that help, for example, their credit score. And,
Hmm.
students invest a lot of money in studying. Like for me as well, my tuition it's kind of gone. It's not trackable. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's really awesome, and it will be a great tool for students when that launches. So definitely students should keep updated on like the mailing list and keep checking the social medias for launch
Yeah,
updates.
yeah, we will. We'll be putting out some big announcement once all of that is finalized.
That's awesome. And I just want to end a little bit with I got a coupon, so I want to know like how is that coupon valuable for students watching this video?
So yeah, for students watching this video, when you use Chantel's coupon, it gives you a discount off of the Pay for Me processing charge. So when you go do a transaction on the Pay for Me app, Pay for Me charges a fee, right? That's how we make money, and that's how we're able to keep our company running and to be able to provide all of the amazing services that we provide. But when we work with, amazing people like Chantel, we're able to we're able to give them like a discount code to share with their community, and then the community can get discounts off of the pay for me charges. Pay for me is happy, the customer is happy, and Chantel, is doing a lot of good for her community, and so watch out for the code and make sure you use it the next time you're trying to use the pay for me app for your study abroad and migration related payment.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and giving more information to students, and especially like showing them a tool that is super useful for their process of moving abroad and studying. And I know this video is very, very, very beneficial for a lot of students, and I appreciate your time coming on.
No, I just want to say thank you very much for having me. Myself and the entire Pay For Me team are very grateful for the opportunity to chat with you and to share the Pay For Me journey and story with your community. And you know, listeners, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm very reachable, Sunday Paul Ada, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the social media. Pay for me, www.payforme.app. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, same to you. Bye. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned more about a tool that will help you and also a tool that is constantly evolving. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I have a trip coming up, like a big trip, and I want to take you along with me. So stay tuned, subscribe, and see what I have in store because it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Bye!